to say like the East African community, or the three governments, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, they are more or less the same. You know, it is just wolves that have sheep's cover or skin, and putting in mind that these activists had gone in to show solidarity with Tundu Lissu, the opposition leader who have been held by the CCM regime. You know, CCM has turned to be the KANU, the Kenyan KANU of 1990s, and of course the UDA of today, because the same happening in Tanzania, it's what we're experiencing here in Kenya. You know, trying to coerce, you know, decent voices, trying to, of course, held and untried voices that are critical to the government, you know, trying to maim voices that are against the government. And that's exactly what is happening in Kenya, it's happening in Uganda, it's happening in Tanzania. But because of the vibrancy of Kenyans, you know, that freedom, the democracy that the Kenyans have been able to, and this democracy has not been guaranteed. If we are waiting for governments to guarantee democracy, they would not guarantee democracy. It is citizens who rise against the government and defend their democracy and their freedom. So when the Kenyans defend the government or defend citizens of the East African community, because as a confederation, we are one people. And that's how the Eastern African Accord dictates, because we must start with our Tanzania brothers and sisters as they would start with us. You remember very well that Kenya had given Kizza Besigye back to Uganda when he had come to seek his refuge in Kenya. You know, the same happened when the critical voice of Tanzania, that the lady, I can't recall her name, was taken back to Tanzania. Why would that be happening? When I listened to Musalia Mudavadi and I listened to the Farouk Kibet, the PA to the president, you'd tell even what is the might of their boss. You'd tell what is the voice and the comment of their boss. It is more or less the same. You unaweza malizana na hao watu and we see Borake, you know, this thing. The government is in complicit with the regimes that are suppressing voices, with the regimes that are suppressing opposition in the Republic of Eastern African Confederation. So it is one less or more the same these regimes, and we cannot wait for the government. If you're expecting the government to make a rally or a protest letter to the government of Tanzania or the government of Uganda, of course that would be a high expectation, because we would not, they would not be. You
don't see it happening, do you?
It would not happen, not in this regime. And let me tell you, Kenya, we have a problem with our diplomatic issues. You know, maybe Kenyans have seen how the government is also interfering with other people's and meddling with other states' affairs. Look at what's happening in Sudan. Kenya, it's in the center of it. Look at what's happening in South Sudan. The Kenya is also in the center of it. Whatever was happening in DRC, Kenya was still in the center of it. But these are not citizens. These are the government. We have also an issue of government being in luxury when Kenyans are facing challenges in other foreign countries. We have people who have been stranded in foreign countries who went there as workers, but when coming back, they are coming antagonized. But the government is still silent on it. We have cases of Kenyans being killed in Saudi Arabia, but how did the government respond? I mean, that diplomatic force and of course taking care of its citizen. A country like